What's up and welcome to the DualSense podcast for episode 166. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason, and then I'm joined, of course, as always, by your other co-host who's calling himself tonight just simply, is that Thorn or Thom? Can't tell. Looks
It's
like
Tom.
Thom.
It's Tom with
It's
an H.
okay. It looks kind of like it could be Thorn to me, so
Yeah, I
it's
have that
Tom
problem.
with yeah. I'm getting old and shit, so Tom or Thom, perhaps to some. How are you tonight? What's going on?
Nice. I just thought I would add a normal name, but add it in a random letter, like some people do.
Yeah. Of course. Your given name is Travis. Of course. How could I forget to mention that? But what was for dinner tonight? I've already shared my answer with you, but I'm curious what you did tonight.
We had the Mexican.
Oh, you did. Well, you and me both are going to be headed for the toilet here in any moment because I
Yeah.
had the Olive Garden, as I told you.
hmm I think it's the olive oil that gets you. You know?
Yeah.
I don't
Especially
know.
the Alfredo really gets me. I didn't get that tonight, but the
Mm,
Alfredo is really buttery, I think, or
yeah,
something.
butter
So
does that.
yeah,
A lot of restaurants use a lot more butter than people use at home. Like you'd be surprised how much butter they actually use when they cook,
it's ridiculous.
and it
Lubes me
really
right up.
yeah, it'll lube you up real good.
Yeah, lubes my
uh
asshole right up.
huh.
Oh, so anything else going on? Did you fire anybody this week?
Yeah, like 3 or 4 for running out of time, I think, and another one,
That happens.
didn't wanna listen to his trainers because they were women, and, his religion doesn't respect women, so
This
I
is
very
America.
I very nicely explained this is America, and, our
Mm.
culture is what's happening in his life right now, so he needs to get on board or get out.
Yeah, I mean, in these United States, we do listen to women, so it is what it is. Anyway, Travis, what are we talking about? Let's talk about some PlayStation because we are a weekly podcast where you and I get together each and every week. We discuss all of the news, rumors, new game releases, and much more in the world of PlayStation. We do it all in under 90 minutes and share new episodes every Monday on all of the usual podcast services, as well as the YouTube, if you prefer to listen there. If you do enjoy it, we would kindly ask that you leave us a rating or review on your podcast app or like or comment on the YouTube. All are quite helpful to us fighting the algorithm. If you want to chat with us, find us on social media. On X, we go by at the DualSense Pod, but we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads as well. Our website is the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. You can get the shows there if you please. Show notes, our lovely photos, and our bios. So please find us, hit us up, chat some PlayStation with us like many of you do. We'd love to hear from you. And without further ado, here, let's jump into the news of the week, starting with number one. Kotaku reported this week that PlayStation's flagship studio Naughty Dog is not immune to the layoff bug, having released at least 25 employees ranging from art to production, with most working in quality assurance. The affected staff have reportedly been offered no severance and have been asked to quote unquote keep the news quiet. Of course, Sony or Naughty Dog have offered no comment on the matter at this point. Kotaku also reported that the developers' The Last of Us multiplayer project is quote unquote basically on ice at this point, though it has not been canceled outright. In related news, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported that PlayStation's push into live service games under outgoing CEO Jim Ryan has not been going smoothly behind the scenes, apparently. Schreier described the move towards service games as a quote unquote uncomfortable pivot for PlayStation Studios, who for years have been known and constructed to create blockbuster single player games. Which is to say that Naughty Dog appears to be front and center of this live service struggle with its Last of Us project. Later in the week, it was discovered that Naughty Dog's principal monetization designer, Anders Howard, has left the studio. Howard, if you'll recall, was most known for designing the Battle Pass system for Fortnite at Epic Games before coming to Naughty Dog. And sticking with The Last of Us news for a moment, rumors popped up on Friday that Naughty Dog is actively developing a remastered version of The Last of Us Part 2, according to the LinkedIn profile of lead outsource artist Mark Pajarillo. Pajarillo, maybe. Maybe that's how you say it. It's a move that is all but certain, considering that the game's composer, Gustavo Santaolalla, I always struggle with that
It's
guy's
a
name.
cartel.
That's it. It is a cartel. It's the Santa Loa cartel. Anyway, Gustavo has also said publicly in recent months that he has worked on a new version of the game, including himself and in motion capture being able to request or play songs that the player requests of him. So, anyway, what do you make of all of this The Last of Us news here?
Yeah, do we need a digital Gustav to play music for us? I don't need a composer in the game. It's very
I mean,
weird.
he does make bangers in his defense. They're bangers.
I guess. So I'm gonna stop in the middle of a shootout so I can press X on Gustav. Yeah, I mean, every week we're hearing about people being released, so you had to assume it will come around to like a more well-known studio. I think that to me, when you listed off the departments they were from, that didn't seem like a big shock to me. Like,
Yeah.
it just seems like you could find that or outsource that type of thing if you needed to. Like,
Hmm.
as you were talking, I was thinking, a quality assurance, a business where you basically offered quality assurance a la carte, like that seems like it would be a pretty good moneymaker at this point because people don't really need that at all times. So I don't know, just a thought there. If you want to get wild and go out on our own and make a bunch of money. But anyway, them being asked to keep quiet is I find that very annoying. Like,
Hmm.
why?
Right.
Because you're afraid of what negative feedback you're going to get. Like, if you have to
Oh
cut
yeah.
people, you got to cut them. Like, it's not. I don't know. I don't think that Sony or Naughty Dog owes anybody an explanation when they fire people or when they
Sure.
cut people. So like, what does it matter if they tell people? They don't have to answer. They shouldn't feel obligated. And even if they want to answer, I just don't understand. It's really weird to me that you tell them to be quiet. It just seems not dishonest, but it just seems I don't know.
Insecure.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But the most interesting thing I thought about this whole story was the live service struggle. You know, when you talk about PlayStation's move into live service, the two games that always stick out to me are the Division's Heartland and the Last of Us multiplayer game. And both of those, where are they, right? And as you said in the story, the Last of Us multiplayer is on ice, right? And then you're talking about how this live service has been a bit of a struggle behind the scenes. And if you've listened to the show, you've heard us when they made the announcement, "Hey, we're going to push this live service thing." Like we both groaned, like what
Yeah.
are we doing? Like we make blockbusters, we make single player game. Like this is a thing that we do. We make basically video game movies in a way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like why do we need to do live service? Like we can have third parties do that and they can come on the platform. Like that's not what we do. Like I mean, you don't ask Tom Brady to be a scrambling quarterback, right? So
Mm, mm,
that's I don't know. So to see it kind of struggling, I mean, it shouldn't make me happy, but in a way it does because it's like just I want them to completely forget about it and move on. Honestly, like if it's this difficult and we're spending this much time and resources and thinking power and talent on this thing and it's barely working for something like live services are so finicky. It's like why? Like we could be having
yeah.
things we never even thought about in a single player world, right? And I don't know, like to me, like, Ghost of Tsushima Legends was great online. They could just throw something like that throw it together. I'm being
Yeah.
facetious, but they could make something like that for The Last of Us, right? It didn't have to be standalone. It could be, I don't know. So that I thought was really interesting.
The crazy thing about that is that they already have the framework for that because the first Last of Us game had, a multiplayer component that
Hmm.
was essentially Ghost of Tsushima Legends.
Right.
And, they made the choice to make it
Hmm.
more than that. And they didn't have to. They could have just, given everybody what they wanted from the beginning, which is just a more, just a next gen sequel to the multiplayer mode from the
Yeah.
first game. But
But it almost feels like the momentum now is pulling away from that. Like, Jim's leaving. So it almost feels
yeah.
like we might get this reeled in a little bit with it, depending on who they hire. But
Hmm.
honestly, like, I thought that was the most interesting thing of the news bulletin. But the thing that actually raised my flag was Andrews leaving because he hasn't been there very long.
No, less than a year.
That's interesting. That's really
Yeah.
interesting to me. So I don't know why. We'll probably never know why, but like what flag is that telling us, right? That
Hmm.
maybe they are pulling back on the live service and he doesn't feel like
Right.
his services are needed. Or is it the change in leadership, right? Maybe he maybe he doesn't like the direction. There's something that he
Yeah,
doesn't like there, obviously. Like I don't know. That I think might be a more
definitely.
of an issue down the line than any of the other things on this list.
Yeah, I think, you know, him leaving, the Howard guy, definitely is a huge red flag. He's been there less than a year. Like you said, he either does not like the direction that the project is going. Naughty Dog might not like the way the direction the project is going, or the project has been canceled. Or it could be maybe it's been rebooted. Maybe they're just going to go back to the drawing board on it.
Mhm.
And I've said this before when we first heard that this was going to be delayed or whatever, because I 100% believe this was supposed to be out this year. I think that's pretty obvious to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
And nothing against Bungie. Nothing against Bungie. Destiny's great. They obviously have some magic sauce over there. But I guess the point I'm making is, what do we really not trust Naughty Dog enough to make whatever this evolution of multiplayer is for The Last of Us themselves? If And I guess what I'm trying to say is, if Bungie had never come along, if Bungie was never in the equation,
mhm,
are we really saying that we would have not have trusted Naughty Dog as is to get this out and to achieve their vision for whatever they were trying to do with this new multiplayer for The Last of Us?
yeah, feels that way.
And yeah, which is to say that, again, are we going to continue to put this much stock into what Bungie says? Because I mean, the way it reads, the way it has been reported, is Bungie essentially said, "Hang on, this isn't good enough to go. You guys need to go back on this, on how to keep players engaged long term." Meanwhile, people are still playing the original multiplayer mode from the first game. So,
Right.
I mean, to this day, I mean,
Mhm.
it's not tens of thousands of people or anything like that, I'm sure, but so I don't know. I still find that whole component of this situation with the Last of Us multiplayer game to be odd, in my opinion. I get they're trying to set up a framework for some type of live service game pipeline, but it's weird that all of a sudden Bungie comes into the picture and then we can't trust Naughty Dog to do what they're good at, which is make games.
Yeah.
Granted, not a single player game, but they've made a multiplayer game for this
It
IP
almost
before. So
Yeah, and to me, it reads like just somebody who's, now that I've had a real job for a decade, it almost reads like Bungie came in and was just like wanted to show everybody they were the fucking big dog. Like, here's my dick on the table. Fuck you. Whatever
mm,
you did isn't good enough. I don't care. You're gonna do it
hmm
my way or get the fuck out. And maybe
hmm
that's part of why Anders left. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable in that work environment. But like you said, that's a good point you made. Like
yeah,
why would we not trust them at this point? Like, they've done more than enough to earn the trust.
yeah. In other words, like, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited about Helldivers 2. As I've talked about, I've already pre-ordered. Like, I'm all in. Like, one of my most anticipated games of next year. But what we're saying here, or what we're seeing, because presumably Helldivers 2 went through the same process that the Last of Us game went through at Bungie, right?
You'd
Because it
think.
is a PlayStation published game. So what we're saying is that Helldivers 2, which granted has been in development for like 8 years by the time it comes out, we're saying Helldivers 2 was more polished, had its shit more together than The Last of Us and more than Naughty Dog. And I'm I'm not certain that I'm buying that, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I guess at the 10,000 foot level, it does sound like this game is in trouble. This standalone multiplayer game. Can PlayStation really afford to cancel what essentially was going to be their first big flagship live service game? At least from PlayStation Studios directly. I don't know. I think that's a question worth asking. I think if they do cancel it, they just shit can it all together. I think it's a bad omen. And I think that, at least for this initiative of live service games. And to be honest, to your point earlier, I would be fine if they just stuck to making, single player blockbuster games, and then let some of these new teams, like Haven, that's making the Fair games, and Firewalk, I think, who's making that Concord game, like, let the new unproven studios try their hand at live service multiplayer games and let the other teams do what they're good at. You got to play to your strengths. So we'll see. We'll see. Also, very keen for a PS5 version of The Last of Us 2. Been waiting for it. to play that game again. So totally for that. It's definitely going to be at $70, by the way. I don't know how they're going to get away with that, considering there's no DLC, but they're gonna charge $70 for that, without question. Number 2, PlayStation owners can now enjoy Sony Pictures Group movies directly from their PS4 and PS5 consoles, as Sony announced that the app formerly known as Bravia Core has been rebranded to Sony Pictures Core and is now available on both PlayStation systems. The app offers direct access to rent or buy nearly 2,000 Sony films. Going a step further, PlayStation Plus Premium and Deluxe subscribers will get access to a curated catalog of up to 100 movies, all of which will be ad-free, and they'll rotate occasionally. Sony says additional benefits will be added for PlayStation Plus members in the future as well. And in related news to that, a rumor popped up later in the week that Sony was planning to add anime app Crunchyroll as part of the PlayStation Plus Premium tier at some point in the future. Okay, so what do you think about the film? I guess perk of PlayStation Plus Premium and the potential for further non-gaming perks like this, I guess.
So you're telling me I got 2,000 movies for free now? Just download this little thing.
You have 100, but you can rent or buy up to 2,000.
Oh yeah, I can read. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not interested. The 100
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
exciting because it could just be it's gonna be a bunch of bullshit. It's gonna be like I don't
Yeah.
know. It's gonna be like Pirates of the Caribbean, and I know it's a Disney movie, but you get the idea. It's gonna be
Yeah.
that, and then it's gonna be like, Gremlins 8.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at the list earlier today, and you're spot on. It's like
Yeah.
shit I've never heard of. It's like Sniper Land 3, and then it's like Looper, and like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, Looper is like, oh yeah, okay, cool. We got a
Yeah.
B tier AAA movie.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. I don't think it's an awful idea. I think
Yeah.
honestly, I think Crunchyroll being added to premium is a much better deal than Sony
Sure.
Picture Core. But I
Sure.
like the idea of Sony Picture Core. Like I like the idea of it, right? Like I think there could be some value there in the future if they could even tier that out too, where you get 100, and then if you're on premium, maybe you get access to 500 and you have a better selection. Like
Yeah.
I think there's a decent way you could kind of play with it. But honestly, like it's the best news for premium that I've heard since premium was existed. Like adding a Crunchyroll, I think really gives value for a lot of people. Not
Yeah.
necessarily me, but like freaking everybody that I know that's under 25 seems to love anime. So you're
Mhm.
definitely gonna have a niche there. Plus, it's a Japanese company. Like it's just right. It's just right in their alley, man. Like, and
Sure.
I think it's a really good idea, honestly.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. I think, generally speaking, I'm for adding these ancillary benefits to the service, PlayStation
Yeah.
Plus, and this would this have softened the blow from several weeks back when they increased the pricing of PlayStation Plus?
Hmm.
Maybe very slightly, not much, because to your point, this isn't a terribly great value. It's only Sony owned films, and it's a lot of old stuff. In terms of the 100 movies, it's a lot of old stuff. It's you know not going to blow you away. The Crunchyroll thing will be huge for a lot of people, especially if they make it to where like it's just included with your PlayStation Plus
Oh
Premium.
yeah.
I think to your point, that's a really supreme value for a lot of people because anime is having a huge moment right now where it's very it's more mainstream now than ever.
Yeah. There's anime for everything, by the way. There's like volleyball
Oh yeah.
anime. There's anime where a girl is like a teacher, but then she does karaoke deathcore at night.
The
I've
fuck.
I've learned all this at work.
Yeah, I learned some of it too from some of the guys that work for me. So, and they're older. They're older than me even, and they love it. So, it's definitely having a moment. But I'm definitely for these sort of premium add-ons. Microsoft does some of this stuff a little bit with Game Pass. I know you get some of these kind of these perks and discounts and premium subscriptions and whatnot. So, it's a nice little move. But we'll see how they can continue to enhance our value moving forward, most likely by increasing our membership subscription price. So, anyway, number 3, another rumor from a credible source appeared this week suggesting that God of War Ragnarok DLC is in development after tier voice actor Ben Prendergast, Jesus, what a name, teased that his character will make another appearance earlier in the year. An insider, the snitch, said that work on the DLC is around 60% done. Now, film leaker and very credible leaker, I should say, Dear Anon has said that it is happening as well. In a response on X to a post from IGN about standalone expansions being more prolific nowadays. Anon wrote, quote, IGN's bang on here. This is how you cut the gap between released while also maybe getting greener teams work on the half sequel with established tools and support. Santa Monica is working on new God of War stuff, and I wonder whether it will be Ragnarok DLC or a half sequel, end quote. So, what do you make of this idea of the sort of half sequel, like Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty and things like that?
Yeah, I like the idea of a half sequel DLC being the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the best explanation I can think of, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a nice little. I remember when like we played PS1 and PS2 games, that you'd finish a story, you'd always kind of wonder if there was more or what they left on the table.
Right.
And I think maybe by doing this, it gives studios a chance to expand on the story and the lore a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
you could even like if there's an ancillary character that for some reason takes off in the zeitgeist, right? You could build that in to your
Mm-hmm.
DLC and play with it. Like there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
advantages there. I think that you could play to your strength or whatever. But no, it's interesting. I think it keeps you relevant too in a way, but as long as you don't overflood it, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't get over the fact that I just it blows my mind that these people how do these people fucking know this shit? It's
I don't know.
like I don't understand. Like I don't is it Jim Ryan with a burner account? Like how do you know this?
Yeah, it's definitely people. I felt like I feel like it's like like me and you. Like if you worked at PlayStation, you know, I'd be like, hey, Travis, are they doing the thing? Like, are they making they making the fucking
Yeah.
thing or what? And he'd be like, yeah, bet.
Nah.
Or nah, like,
Yeah.
and then I'd go to Twitter with my snitch burner account, be like, yeah, they're 60% done on the thing.
Yeah. You just
They're yeah,
can't swap
SOCOM
accounts.
60% done.
Right.
Yeah, and then I came everywhere because SOCOM was 60% done.
Yeah. So made you so come. I think but no, to his point though, I think it's really cool. I hadn't really considered the thought process of like, yeah, put your greener team or some of your new hires on it to get them
True.
kind of, it's already a thing is successful, just to let them, get their
Right.
feet wet and kind of see what the stress looks like and the expectations are.
Mhm.
But the fact that he's even saying that tells me that that's one of the main reasons they're probably doing that because it seems like it's a win-win for them, right? It gives the fans something, they're making money, it's letting their team stay sharp. Like it just seems like
Mhm.
everybody wins across the board.
Sure. I don't have a problem with the idea of a half sequel or the expand alone, the standalone expansion. So
Hmm.
no problem with that per se. I think doing something like that. I think I said this after I finished the game, but I think doing something like that for God of War Ragnarok specifically makes a lot of sense. Like you were saying, there's some side characters in there who I think could warrant having their own sort of little story within the story. I think that makes a lot of sense. Would be fine with having something like that to hold us over to whatever Santa Monica's next project is. And the quality and scale and value of Phantom Liberty for Cyberpunk 2077 recently, I think has reinforced what can be done in that space because it took them for 3 years almost to make that, and we have talked about on the show how these games are taking a full game from start to finish is taking 5, 6, 7 years to make now. So if you can spend 2.5 to 3 years making, a half sequel, then to sort of fill the gaps, then by all means. And I saw earlier before we were recording, there's I think his name's Nick Shepshaw. I don't know. He's on an Xbox podcast, but he's a connected guy. He said that he has heard of some more of these like half sequels
Hmm.
from PlayStation that are in the works. Apparently, there's a rumor that they're doing something with Infamous. This all has me wondering if The Last of Us Part Two remaster that we were talking about earlier, like could it be a remaster of Part Two, but then also include DLC within it
Hmm.
potentially? So I don't know. I think there's a lot of permutations to what this could look like, but
Yeah.
definitely not opposed to the half sequel.
And all I'm thinking about right now is how GTA 6 is going to have these all the time. And, you
Yeah,
know, It's just gonna
Yeah.
one after the other, one after the other.
Yeah. No, I
Almost
mean,
like
that's
you
a
know
good
how
point.
we get that with GTA Online, but I think the
Yeah.
half sequel will let you now that that's kind of a thing. It'll let them have, hey, we added 20 hours of missions. You get to play as whatever the character is next time. So
Mhm.
I think they'll be willing to branch into that because that's an easy way for them to make money.
Sure. Definitely. Number 4, PlayStation released the most downloaded games on the PlayStation Store for the month of September this week. On PlayStation 5, the most downloaded game was NBA 2K24, followed by Baldur's Gate 3, Mortal Kombat 1, EA Sports FC 24, Madden 24, The Crew Motorfest, Payday 3, GTA 5, Lies of P, Cyberpunk 2077, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Rainbow Six Siege, Armored Core 6, Marvel's Avengers, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Modern Warfare 2, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Spider Man Miles Morales, Spider Man Remastered at number 20. On PS4, the top downloaded game was, of course, NBA 2K24, followed by EA Sports FC 24, Minecraft, Red Dead Redemption 2, Madden 24, GTA 5, Need for Speed Heat, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Injustice 2, Black Ops 3, The Forest, Red Dead
Hey,
Redemption, yeah, The Crew Motorfest, Titanfall 2, The Hunter Call of the Wild, Batman Arkham Knight, Modern Warfare 2, Need for Speed Payback, Gang Beasts, and Rainbow Six Siege at 20. On PSVR 2, the most downloaded game was arcade shooter Crossfire Sierra Squad, followed by Beat Saber, Pavlov, Hellsweeper VR, Alvo VR, Job Simulator, Creed Rise to Glory, Championship Edition, Walkabout Mini Golf, Swordsman VR, and Firewall Ultra at number 10. And then over on free to play, finally here, the most downloaded game was Fortnite, of course, followed by a newcomer, My Hero Ultra Rumble, and Warzone at number 3. So, what do you make of the list here? Anything stand out?
the only thing I have to say about VR is, do we need to keep putting VR in the title? You know, we're not.
Right,
It's not like it's
yeah,
not
it drives
Payday
me
3
crazy.
PS5. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, yeah, it
uh,
drives me crazy. Like, I don't know.
I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I think it just stuff like that makes it seem niche. Like, I don't know, just
Yeah, yeah,
let it
yeah,
stand alone. Just it's Alvo, right? That's all it is.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Happy to see the forest back and totally accurate battle simulator. That's all I have to say about PS4.
Mm,
I'm all on board for those. As far as the 5 goes, nothing surprising at the top there except for the crew. The crew at 6 to me is surprising. I didn't expect that. I was thinking maybe 10th.
mm.
It's got some decent reviews. The crew to me is just Forza on Xbox. It's like our
Yeah,
version of
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Although neither of them are really for me in a way, but it's just that's interesting to me that it's there. I'm glad to see Payday still in the top 10 despite its horrific server issues. That's
Yeah.
really good for them, and I'm surprised to see Marvel's back up there, Avengers. So
Mm.
I know why it's there, right? Aren't they taking it down? But
Yeah, correct.
just interesting to see it have a little, little a little death gasp there.
Yeah. Final breath, a little final breath. It like you said, it was on sale for 4.90. No, I'm sorry, 3.99.
Hmm.
It was on sale for 3.99 up until its permanent delisting from the PlayStation Store, which happened on September the 30th. So everyone getting in on their on the last gasp, as you said there, on a what is a wonderful game, and for $4, a no fucking brainer, absolute no brainer for $4. So some things that stand out to me: Baldur's Gate 3 at number 2 on PS5, beating out EA Sports FC, Madden 24. That that's hard to do. It goes to show you, and that's it's an RPG. It's a turn-based computer RPG, and it beat out two of the biggest selling games of the year for the month. So it'll be interesting to watch its trajectory going forward. And then yeah, like you said, Payday 3, that surprises me there that it's there so high. Shows you that people were pretty excited about it, and got a wet blanket thrown on them pretty quick after it launched with the server issues. The other one that stood out to me was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know we talked about how it's sold 4 million copies or had 4 million players or whatever in the last few weeks, but it's being in the top 15 there, that's huge for a asymmetric multiplayer horror game. It's very niche, and it's high on the list. So uh, happy for the lads over at gun media and in our native state here. And then Spider-Man, everybody's getting primed up for Spider-Man 2 by downloading the first 2 games there. Let's see. PS4, The Forest hanging around like a hair in a biscuit as always. Titanfall 2 on there having its moment because apparently it's getting like shadow updates and stuff. So it's having a moment right now of a resurgence on PC in particular, but obviously on PS4. On PSVR 2, Firewall Ultra really not doing too great. 10 I don't think is very good for a game that launched at the end of August, not having a whole lot of staying power. It's a big release from PlayStation Studios for PSVR 2, and I think it's had a rocky launch as well, for sure. So that's part of it. But Crossfire Sierra Squad being number one, it's a pretty good game too. And then My Hero Ultra Rumble, have no idea. I know that's an anime thing, speaking of, but apparently people were excited about that too, and free to play. Number 5, we also have a bunch of news nuggets as well. Travis, feel free to jump in here. First nugget, DICE revealed Battlefield 2042 Season 6 Dark Creations this week, which adds a new entirely indoor map called Redacted, 3 new weapons, new gadgets, a new 100 tier battle pass, and more. And it begins October the 10th, and I can't fucking wait.
So far away.
It is. I'm pretty stoked for this.
Yeah, it looks cool. Definitely excited for the map. I like that it's indoor. I think it'll be fun. Hopefully it plays well because it looks cool to me.
Yeah.
Always stoked for the new weapons because I'm sure a couple of them will just be completely overpowered and it'll be a blast for a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
But like I told you, I'm already annoyed at the new helicopter or whatever the fuck it is. I already hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The
no, I
little
think it'll be cool.
Yeah, the little 2-player Chinook bike thing.
Yeah, we should get in it and die immediately.
Oh, 100%. Apparently the new map is pretty good. Our buddy Flackfire, our squad mate Flackfire.
Guy we play with all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, he's been playing it in the preview that they've been having. By the way, got invited to do the preview and couldn't do it because I have a day job. But that really bummed me out. So
you can be Flackfire.
Yeah, I couldn't be Flackfire, but he said that the map is good. The redacted map's very good, so that gives me hope.
He told us when we talked personally in our Discord channel that we're all friends on.
That's right. So, and the new weapons look dope. It's an assault rifle that looks like a FAMAS. It's a marksman rifle, and then there's a new pistol that looks pretty dope as well. So,
oh my god, you know that I love pistols.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and tell you that the marksman rifle is already perfect.
Oh yeah, it looks dope.
God, this would be great.
Can't wait. Anyway, then they're teasing also some type of in-game event around Halloween. So I think there might be like some proper zombies, cyborg shit going on around Halloween. So sounds fun. Also, next nugget here, Fallout 76 is getting a new Atlantic City themed update on December the 5th that will see players head to the boardwalks of New Jersey to kill Steve Buscemi.
I was going to say, yeah. I thought this game was dead. I didn't know people will still play this.
Apparently it's still kicking. Yeah.
I'm curious.
Never makes the download list, but apparently it's still kicking.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think it could be really well. Like you said, I think that Boardwalk Empire Atlantic City would be fun. I don't want to do Trump Tower Atlantic City.
Sure. Also, Project Wingman 59, a combat flight simulator game released on PS5 this week, and it also features 6 missions playable on PSVR 2 if you're interested.
What era is this in?
It's the modern one.
Oh, fuck that. That's not any fun.
Also, eerie fishing game Dredge, which is a wonderful game, is getting its first expansion on November the 16th called The Pale Reach. And developer Black Salt Games revealed that another expansion is already in the works called The Iron Rig. So that's what I call my junk. Also, story-driven adventure game Salt Sea Chronicles is releasing on October the 12th for PS5. Wholesome action-adventure puzzler The Gecko Gods was announced for PlayStation and is launching next year. Pistol Whip received its 13th free content update this week called Elixir of Madness, which brings spooky music to the game just in time for Halloween.
That's what I call my junk.
Elixir of Madness?
Yeah.
Beat Saber received a Linkin Park, here we fucking go, Mike Shinoda music pack this week on both PlayStation VR and PlayStation VR 2. It features hit songs like Numb Encore, Crawling, Lost, and an unreleased Shinoda song called Already Over, among others.
God, I have so many thoughts. When do we get the Chester Benningfield edition?
Yeah,
You
whenever his
also
wife
mean
lets his go ahead.
you also mean the unplayed Shinoda song called "Already Over" because nobody's playing that.
Oh, correct.
Oh,
Correct.
God.
Nobody's here for Mike Shinoda. Listen, Mike's fine. Okay, big
Right.
part of Lincoln Park, but he's no Chester. He's no
We're
Buzz.
not listening to Linkin Park for Mike. No offense, Mike. We're here for
No.
Chester 'cause he's got pipes and
Yeah,
he's
he's got
got
yeah, he does.
dude, he fucking like, he brings the power to that band. Mike's
Yeah.
good. Mike's fine, but listen, don't need it. Sorry.
No.
Like,
Listen, Hybrid Theory, one of the best rock albums ever, first of
yeah,
all. Also, their first and best album that they ever made,
you might as
which
well say
is
only album.
yeah, true.
They've recently released some more songs from that era, for whatever
Oh,
reason, and they're
yeah,
decent. They're not bad. I'm
yeah,
like, "Why didn't you guys just keep doing that?" Like, anyway, what
right,
do I
right.
know, though? I'm not an artist.
Isn't that weird that bands sit on unreleased songs? Like,
I don't get it at all, especially when your new shit sucks.
yeah, right.
Anyway, cool, good for him. You would only have been more excited if it was fucking Creed.
Oh, absolutely. I'm waiting for the Creed music pack. I'm telling you right now, I need a fucking SingStar game with Creed, Linkin Park, Matchbox 20, Breaking Benjamin. Like, let's make this happen.
I do love Matchbox 20. I love
Yeah.
some good Rob Thomas. Listen,
Yeah.
sophomore year of high school, our algebra teacher was playing Creed when we would work on a math homework during class, and I made
Dude,
out
I
with a
love
girl
this.
behind a cardboard box with Creed was on sophomore year of
Look at you. Look
math.
at you go. Oh, wow. Look at
Yeah,
you. So
fucking
proud.
yeah, well, arms were wide open.
Wasn't the only thing. All right, next
Yeah.
nugget here. Altruistic altruistic co-op platformer Karmazoo is launching November 14th for PS5. Website Video Games Chronicle reported that 5 former Ubisoft employees have been detained by French police investigating allegations of sexual assault and harassment at the company, or harassment, as they say over there, probably. Along those lines, PlayStation subsidiary Bungie has been sued by a former HR manager who is claiming that she was wrongfully dismissed after reporting instances of racism at the studio.
I feel like the HR manager would know.
I mean, you would think. Also, Sony has quietly updated the free game offer for new PS5 owners that we've discussed recently. The fine print now states that only invited users can redeem the offer of a free game, though it is unclear what the criteria is for an invite. So, just PlayStation being PlayStation, they do these things from time to time, as we discussed last week.
Yeah, conspiracy me says nobody gets that offer.
Yeah. It's, yeah, exactly. Only certain people get it, meaning nobody. Also, Rockstar Games updated the Red Dead Redemption PS4 port this week to add a 60 frames per second mode when playing in backwards compatibility on PS5. The recently canceled Sega shooter Hyenas was the company's biggest budget game ever. It was reported this week, which blows my fucking mind. The axing of the project apparently boiled down to a lack of direction, a disruptive engine change, and overly cautious design choices. I'd say that'll do it. But that's their biggest
Right.
budget game ever, Hyenas. That is
That's
so
wild.
fucking crazy to me.
The last thing annoys me so much, overcautious.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that could mean anything, but also,
Sure.
I guess if your budget's that big, you're worried about blowing it up. I guess there's a reason people like me don't have jobs like that
Yeah.
because I would just be going for it. Like, "Oh, man, dude, our budget's 50,000,000. Like, alright, let's have some fun," and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be thinking about that. Like, I would just be doing stuff I thought was cool, and it probably would lack direction, but at least I wouldn't make cautious design choices.
Right.
But yeah, put a dick on his head, go for it.
Oh, also, PlayStation Studio Housemarque announced that they are moving into a brand new building by the end of next year.
Thank
The new
God.
facility, the new facility will be in Finland's capital of Helsinki and come with some of the modern touches that newer developers enjoy, as in-house, such as in-house audio facilities and more.
Yeah, running water,
Running water,
electricity.
yeah, snack bar, microwave.
Yeah. They got one of those athlete snack bars from the University of Michigan.
Next nugget. Activision president Rob Kostich revealed this week to GamesBeat that they have Call of Duty games planned through 2027, with nearly 3,000 employees working on the franchise, which is insane.
That'll all get leaked one day.
Yeah, we'll know all about all of those here in the next few months. Also, a bunch of Cyberpunk 2077 news came out this week, including that developer CD Projekt Red has plans to release a complete edition of the game that includes the Phantom Liberty expansion. They also revealed that they are working on a live action film or TV project of some sort, another animated project with the studio Trigger, and that the game's sequel may be third person rather than first person. And finally, CD Projekt said that Cyberpunk 2077 has crossed 25 million units sold since launching in 2020. Okay, so more Cyberpunk on the way. No shock there. As is normally the case, PlayStation players will be getting exclusive content in Modern Warfare 3. It was revealed this week, including an operator pack and weapon blueprints called Lockpick. So there's that. Last year's game, I think it was the Oni guy. We got a bunch, or was that? Yeah, that was last year. Oni. Also, The Verge reported that Microsoft is planning to finalize its acquisition of Activision Blizzard King on October the 13th. So almost there. Developer Telltale Games is the latest to be affected by staff layoffs in the industry, with the studio telling Jeff Keighley this week that they have had to cut employees due to quote unquote difficult market conditions. In other words, their games are not selling. Website Gaming Nexus, the wonderful lads at Gaming Nexus, reported this week that iRacing has acquired the license to develop NASCAR simulation games, for consoles, with a new game already planned for PlayStation in 2025. It's big news.
It's interesting. NASCAR games have sucked for years.
Mm-hmm.
iRacing made the World of Outlaws game, which has some decent reviews and is pretty good. It's one of the better dirt physics games you could play on console.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, they have the best sim on PC. Like it just doesn't get better than iRacing, especially with the way you can do endurance races and so on and so forth, and the leagues and everything, and the damage everything about it is great. Except for the netcode sometimes. So, I'm interested to see how this plays out for them. I understand why they did it. Part of it is iRacing has a really big relationship with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is obviously a big spokesperson for NASCAR. So it makes sense in a lot of ways for them. Like I told you earlier, like if they're making a World of Outlaws, they're going to make NASCAR. Like eventually, do I need to buy iRacing? So I think it's something to be hopeful for if you're missing a NASCAR game.
Sure. Sounds dope to me. Website PushSquare reported that Sony has partnered with Adidas to produce a Spider-Man 2 themed shoes and apparel, which will launch the same day as the game on October the 20th. And the shoes do look cool, I have to admit.
Do you know who else got new Adidas shoes this last week?
Adidas? Who?
Korn.
No way. Get the fuck out of here. Korn with a K?
Yeah, look it up. Yeah, there's two versions. There's a white and the black version.
The
black
fuck
is suede, the white's leather. They waited, that song that Korn made came out in 94? So it's only been 20 years, 30 years.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Nobody likes Korn. Nobody. I'm sorry, nobody likes Korn. They're not good.
I don't know anybody that likes Korn. That's a good point. I don't know anybody that does. I've never heard somebody even say I like Korn.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody. No one has ever said that. I've been alive for 34 years. No one has ever said to me, Korn is my favorite band.
Yeah. I've literally heard people say I like ICP. I've never heard people say I like Korn.
Yeah. It's a fucking farce. It's Fugazi. It's fairy dust. Anyway. Also, developer Starbreeze claims that they have finally stabilized the Payday 3 servers this week and also shared a content roadmap. The game's first DLC, called a Syntax Error, will arrive this winter.
Yeah, why do they call it fucking server error?
For real. They did delay another update till the middle of this month, though. That was supposed to drop this week, so there's that.
Well, maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll get to find out this weekend if it's really real.
I hope so. Yeah, I think we will. We're going to fuck around to find out. Next nugget, adding to the widespread layoffs that we discussed last week and this week now, indie publisher Team 17 is the latest to suffer staff reductions as approximately 50 jobs have been cut, and CEO Michael Pattison is also leaving. So all the way to the top. Everybody's cutting jobs, losing people. Cult hit PvEVP first-person shooter Hunt Showdown is finally getting a native PS5 version in April of next year. It will be a free upgrade for PS4 owners of the game. And developer Crytek also announced that once the PS5 version launches, support for the PS4 version will cease altogether.
Mm.
And they're also updating the Cry engine, which
Mm.
is their proprietary engine, to
Yeah,
make some improvements. So
I like these guys.
yeah, I'm keen for this because I think that game's underrated, and it does run at 60 frames on
Mhm.
PS5 now. A proper PS5 version is welcome. Next nugget here, co-op alien horde shooter From Space is coming to PS4 and PS5 on October the 12th, and this strikes me as like a Dead Nation, Alien Nation type of game, watching the trailer. Also, first-person survival horror game Death Relives was announced for PS5. And following up on last week's report that Sony has been hacked, the Japanese firm confirmed this week that nearly 7,000 current and former employees have had their personal information compromised. So it doesn't seem like it's extended to the user yet.
I watched a Vice documentary maybe or something. It was
Okay.
on YouTube. And they were talking about the black market and how like
Hmm.
different nationalities. So like if somebody wants to steal your identity, there's these people that you can use, right? I'm gonna call them a fence, but like like an American identity is like $250. If you want one
Hmm.
from Guatemala, it's like 50. Like there's like they're all priced out. And apparently it's like it's not difficult for these guys to like find identities for these people to like basically take
Interesting.
and open up credit lines and stuff. So I think my point is I think they could do it anyway, regardless of what happened to these 7,000 employees.
Sure, definitely. Also, website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that a group of former BioWare employees are suing the Mass Effect and Dragon Age studio for quote unquote shortchanging their severance packages. Blizzard Entertainment announced that it is shutting down Overwatch League at the end of 2023.
Is there an Overwatch 2 league?
I think they're one and the same. I think they're one. Maybe not. Maybe not. That's a
It
good point.
just seems like we
Perhaps
should.
not.
That's interesting to me then, if it is, because it's like I thought
Hmm.
that's fairly popular.
Yeah. Of course, they've had some trouble. They've had a trouble to launch, so there's that too. I don't know. I don't keep up with that one. Next nugget here. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Sifu, Final Fantasy 14, Dying Light 2, Atlas Fallen, Daymare 1994 Sandcastle, Baldur's Gate 3, Terraria, Conan Exiles, Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Payday 3, Armored Core 6, Cyberpunk 2077, Quake 2, The Elder Scrolls Online, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. So if you've been waiting for some new content or fixes, check those out. Also, EA Sports released 10 minutes, Travis, of WRC gameplay this week, featuring a look at multiple weather conditions on the courses, and apparently it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. If you pull it up and watch it, you'll notice the very first stage they're on. They're on like a snowy stage, and the guy gets a dog shit launch completely. Like his timing's a terrible. Anyway,
Huh.
no, it looks really cool. It's hard to say from just watching, but it looks like
Yeah.
the asphalt physics are actually a lot better. That was one of the criticisms of Dirt Rally was like
Oh, yeah.
the tarmac wasn't great. The gravel is like fucking phenomenal. Like it was so predictable and it felt really good when you were driving. So hopefully they get both of those right. But yeah, they showed like some mixed whatever you want to call it, mixed surface courses going from
Oh,
gravel
yeah.
to tarmac and back and forth. So I think
Sure.
it looks stellar. And if you watch it, I don't know if you've played any of the rally games though, but like the call outs they're making are a lot better this time. It's like small jump
Mm,
into large jump, and it's shows you at the top. If you keep those turned on, it gives you a little bit of like you see the little ramp and everything, and it's
right.
like it's so much more detailed than Dirt Rally because sometimes they'd be like 5 long, and then I would just be like, I'm still turning, and then like all of a sudden I'd hit a narrow bridge, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
Right.
But it seems like it's better now, so I'm definitely excited for it.
Website Gamatsu reported that sci-fi base building survival game The Alters from 11-Bit Studios will launch for PS5 in 2024. This game looks fucking dope. All we
This is for
got
you.
was, yeah, dude, this looks insane. This we pretty much just got a cinematic trailer for it. You should look it up. It's very cool. The gist of it is that this guy, I think his name is Jan or Jan perhaps. He keeps cloning himself to be able to have help building up his base and surviving. and every clone that he makes of himself has a different personality, different goals, different skills. So like he might clone himself and he's a botanist. He might clone himself and he's good with crafting or whatever the fuck. So very very keen for this. Very keen for this indeed. Also, psychological horror game Stray Souls will launch for PS4 and PS5 on October the 25th. Wizard Academy co-op roguelike adventure game Spells and Secrets will release for PS5 on November the 9th. First-person spider hunting game Kill It With Fire 2 announced that it will get a 4-player co-op campaign and a PvP mode called Spider Hunt. Spider Hunt. It will come to PS4 and PS5 next year, and I think it'll have a VR mode as well, if I
Not
remember
interested.
correctly.
Could not be less interested in VR mode in that shit.
Come on, let's do it. Adventure platformer Worldless has been delayed from October the 4th to November the 21st on PS4 and PS5. Adventure game Kingdom 80's Summer of Greed will launch for PS5 on October the 16th. Open world action RPG Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon will release for PS5 in late 2024. Turn-based strategy RPG Spellforce Conquest of EO, I guess that's how you say that, will launch November 7th for PS5. First-person environmental thriller The Forest Cathedral will come to PS5 on October the 31st. Dark fantasy first-person shooter Graven will launch for PS4 and PS5 on January 23rd. Boomer shooter Postal Brain Damage will launch for PS4 and PS5 later this year.
Does this mean we shoot boomers?
Not quite. It's like Doom. Imagine like Doom, something like that.
Oh, that's okay. That's a lot less dark than I imagined.
Yeah. Roguelite first-person shooter Gunhead will release for PS5 on November the 8th. A Boy and His Blob Retro Collection is coming to PS4 and PS5 on October the 17th. Atari announced a reimagining of 1980 shooter Berserk called Berserk Recharged, and it's releasing later this year for PS4 and PS5. Calypso Media announced a real-time tactical action game Commandos Origins for PS5, and it will launch sometime next year. It's set during World War II. Looks pretty cool. Dark Gothic Metroidvania game The Last Faith will launch for PS4 and PS5 on November the 15th. That can't be right. The Lose Legends of Redwall? I don't know what that is. The Lose Legends of Redwall, the Scout Anthology, was announced for PS4. It's got to be the Lost Legends, right? I don't know. Anyway, it was announced for PS4 and PS5, and it's launching December the 1st.
It could also be Loose Legends.
Could be. And finally, Travis Gamatsu reported that Bandai Namco Entertainment has filed a trademark in the United States for Sparking Zero. Bandai Namco announced a new entry in the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series earlier this year, so this could be related to that for all you fucking nerds out there. And that's all for the news this week. I'm going to turn it over to Travis now for this week's new games.
On the 2nd, we have Billiken's Folly and Trepang 2. On the 3rd, we have Diorama Dungeon Crawl.
Okay.
Or it could be Dung on Crawl, I'm not sure. We also have Disgaea 7, Vows of the Virtueless, Pixel Rip 1995. I feel like there's 1,000 Pixel Rips.
There are many.
Project Wingman Frontline 59, Scorn, Survivor Castaway. You can play as a volleyball. Synergia, Waltz of the Wizard. On the 4th, we have Dino Break. On the 5th, we have Assassin's Creed Mirage, Bang on Balls Chronicles. Cricket 24, Official Game of the Ashes.
That's cricket right there.
Knight versus Giant, The Broken Excalibur. Lord Winklebottom Investigates. NHL 24, Sword Art Online, Last Recollection, or Recollection.
Good point. I have no idea.
Sunshine Manor. I think we talked about that one last week, right? It's you manage an old folks home. And then the Sisters 2 Road to Fame. So obviously Assassin's Creed is the biggest, and I would assume Cricket's going to sell really well in like Australia.
Oh, of course. India.
Yeah, I'm interested in NHL maybe on a cell because I think Chell's fun to play.
Yeah, sure.
I need to know what Lord Winklebottom is. I wish you would have reviewed it.
Yeah, it's I saw something about this earlier today. It's I don't know, you should just look it up. Billiken's Folly though is supposedly pretty good. It's a like a puzzle adventure game. The animation looks really good. It's only $20. You're like
Oh
a
shit. Okay.
what's
Lord Winklebottom is a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
oh
Um,
shit.
it's a point and click adventure featuring a dashing giraffe detective, and it's in the 1920s.
Oh, you're buying that 100%.
This is amazing. Why don't I own this?
You're gonna buy that 100%. I already know. Let's see here. Trepang 2 is it's like Fear. It's like a first person shooter horror game that's supposedly reviewing pretty well. Let's see here.
I've got these other animals in suits. The fucking pig's a sailor.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, of course, is the biggest game. I did review it for Gaming Nexus. I gave it an 8 out of 10, which is good for us. And if you're a fan of the classic stealth formula Assassin's Creed games, you'll find a lot to like about it. Doesn't do a whole lot story wise. You've heard the story before. We've been there before. But in terms of gameplay, it's definitely worth checking out. The other thing is Bang on Balls Chronicles. Don't sleep on that one. It sounds stupid, but apparently that game is excellent. As a matter of fact, our editor in chief at Gaming Nexus gave it a 10 out of 10, and it has a 97% on Steam. So definitely don't sleep on Bang on Balls Chronicles. Weird name, but apparently a very good game. It's like a 3D action platformer thing. So I did buy it. It's on sale at launch for $20 on PlayStation Store. So keen to check that out. Yeah, that's it for the new games this week. Let's start to wrap the show up here, Travis, like we always do, by discussing what we've been playing and anything we're looking forward to. What's on your mind?
Looking forward to War Hospital whenever it decides to exist. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a December game now. That just seems like it's something December to me.
Yeah, so the WRC footage got me excited. So that's I think at the end of the month. Again, I'm gonna let it come out and see how it rates and see some more actual like streamers play it. But definitely in on that. It looks like a lot of fun.
What is it?
WRC.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, so I played some FIFA this week. Just rocking and rolling with it. I like the new coaching system, and like I was telling you, I like the pregame stuff where the training streamlined. I like that a lot better, and I can scout the other team out. And the scouting is actually pretty useful because, like I told you, like if I play teams that are like super press on the ball, like
Mhm.
my team is a League One team, and we're just not my guys aren't that talented. So if I play a team that is like over aggressively pressing, it's very difficult for me to. I can't like skill by people because I don't have the ratings are terrible. So I basically have to pass my way around and like use strategy to beat them. I can't just beat a dude off the dribble. So that's a nice touch because like speed still kills in the game like it always does. Like if I just put some flat out fast dudes, I'll still get a cheap goal or two just because they're fast, but it's more difficult. So I do like it seems more realistic in that way. I'm enjoying that. Did I play? Did I talk about the platinum I got last week? Or was that this week?
Yeah, I think we did talk about it because I didn't believe that you'd actually gotten a platinum on one of those cheap ass 99 cent whatever I am bread games or whatever the fuck it was. Stroke the beer. So,
Sounds like you're jealous.
hmm
I think I only played FIFA.
yeah,
I don't remember doing anything else. I'm
yeah,
looking forward though to the new Battlefield. Hopefully, Payday's fixed.
yeah, yeah. I guess we'll find out about payday this weekend. See if they're telling the truth or they're just talking some shit or what. And yeah, I played NBA 2K24 kind of on and off this week. Mostly played Assassin's Creed Mirage for my review. I played it in total for about 25 ish hours, something like that. And which, like I've talked about on the show, is perfect. That's really the sweet spot. Like 15 to 20 really is the absolute best. But that's probably what I probably spent 20 on the main story and a few more hours on just side stuff and whatever. So it's a good game. I would recommend it, especially like I said earlier, to fans of the old formula of the series. It's hard. It's just so hard to see us getting more games like that in that mold going forward. But maybe not. Maybe we will. We'll have to see. Things I'm looking forward to, like you said, Payday, definitely the new Battlefield update on, would that be Tuesday? And I'm also hoping that X Defiant gets dated this week. There's rumors out there that it launches October the 17th, but they've been pretty quiet. So who knows what's going on with that? But yeah, that's it. So it's it for me. It's it for you. It's it for the show. We'll get out of here now. Again, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to get a new episode delivered every Monday. Also, if you can leave us a rating or review, it's very helpful as well. A like or comment on YouTube would be appreciated indeed. And don't forget to find us on social media. On X, we go by at the DualSense Pod, but we're also on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook. Our website is thedualsensepodcast.wordpress.com. So please find us, hit us up, chat some PlayStation with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll get out of here now. Thank you as always for listening. Have a great week, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye-bye.